Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is Norbert, an inventor, entrepreneur, public speaker, life and health coach, management consultant, and author whose work spans more than 4 decades across Germany, Asia, and the United States. He has lived and worked in 39 countries, built companies across multiple continents, and spent much of his career looking for practical solutions to problems many people overlook. Norbert's focus has often been on health, energy, water, environmental exposure, and the hidden factors that affect how people live and feel, especially in high pressure professional environments. Today, he brings a very different perspective on health, performances, and these things most people need to stop and question, actually. So, Norbert, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Great. Thanks a lot for having me all the way to Nigeria. I've been there many moons ago. I hope one day again. Um, yes, it's our first time. Maybe we have more, but let's start with what I would call the basic in health. Okay. We have got only 30 minutes. You cannot cover the topic health in 30 minutes. It's impossible. So let me give you what I experienced with many of my clients and in my more than 200 live seminars I've been given, okay, which I love the interaction with the audience so they can ask questions, and I'm talking from the ivory tower. Now, my first basic thesis, which I have about health, I have here a image which I'd like to share with you, which is the basics of my life and the basics of my teaching. When I, well, actually, this image which I had now is gone. Oh, whoa, what happened? Sure. Let me see. We got it. You have it?
Yes.
Okay. My basic thought is health, my definition is the balance, the harmony between mind and body. Normally, when people talk about health, they always mean your body. Your body is healthy. And for me, there is no health if your mind and your body are not in harmony. There is no health without your mindset, without your mental condition. They must be in harmony. That's my first and utmost basic concept about health. The second concept about health is a complete different one. And the second concept is not far from the one I just said, maybe surprising for you. It's my famous gravestone, which I use in every seminar I give. Rest in peace. Mankind is extinct because they believed that the laws of nature did not apply to them. Most people do not believe that the laws of nature apply to us. They think they can do whatever they want against nature because we do not live with nature. In many cases, in most cases, we live against nature. And to live against nature means you pay a price. And the price to live against nature is almost all the time sickness. Nature has its laws, and we think that we are more smart than nature. Long term, that doesn't work. That's always my opinion. And people come to me, and as a life and health coach, why am I sick? I did everything so well in my life. Why did it hit me? And I say, well, it's to prove that you didn't do anything right. Because to my opinion, health is not an accident, and illness is not by accident. It's a consequence of our lifestyle, sometimes a consequence where we live. You can be healthy in the environment where you live, and then you change the environment, and the environment influences you, and you become sick. If you're really healthy, there must be an influence that you come from these balanced situations of health into an unhealthy situation. It doesn't happen by itself. It's not an accident. In this world, nature, nothing is an accident. So people don't live as healthy as they think they live. They just imagine they live healthy. And a lot of times they're uneducated. They don't know what to do wrong. And there's another misconcept I want to clarify in our kind of what I call introduction session we do today. Please, in my opinion, no doctor can heal you. The only person who can heal you is yourself. A doctor can be a tool, but he cannot heal you. It takes yourself to heal yourself. And this is typically when you change your lifestyle. Most people live in a comfort zone where they do things which they think is right, but they're not. I'll pick up on a few examples today, not to speak so abstract. Being aware of a problem is one of my theses. Being aware of a problem is the first step. 50% of solving a problem is to be aware of a problem. If you're not aware of a problem, you cannot heal. You cannot improve your life. You cannot do better. You must be aware of the problem. Awareness creates solutions. Now, the first step is not to rely on a doctor, but to rely on yourself. You have all the information, but you have to have access to your information. That may sound for some people a bit abstract. Maybe it has happened to you like it happened to me many times, that at nighttime I dream about something. And I have access to something which during the day I have no access to. There's an awareness in you, knowledge in you. You know everything. You just have to ask the right questions. And the problem is to get this awareness to the right questions and the right answers. So awareness is there, whether you're aware of it or not. And again, sometimes in the sleep, in dreams, it comes up. Let me give you, in the practical world, a few basic life experiences for health. In order, but not in sequence, not in any order, just randomly. The first step is you need healthy sleep. Without healthy sleep, there is no health. And you need, typically, the average person needs between 6 to 8 hours. Some people get away with 6, 5.5, 6. Let's say 6 to 8 hours, depending on the person. You need healthy sleep. Without healthy sleep is no health available. Because at sleep times, you regenerate mentally and physically. And your body needs this and your mind needs this. Now, I have a separate show, which typically lasts 1-2 hours, where I talk about the 19 possible causes of bad sleep. Wherever I go, I'll find more and more people who complain about their bad sleep. And it seems to getting worse, but not better, like a pandemic. It's a pandemic situation, bad sleep. Okay, so when I found that there were 19 causes for bad sleep, which again I present in a special show, because it takes quite a while to go through the 19 possible causes. It doesn't mean that you have 19 causes, but there are 19 possible causes, and you select which refers to me. When I talk about them, you got to say, oh, that's me. Oh, no, that's not me, but that's me, right? Okay, so the first step for healthy life is sleep. The second step is mental stability. If you live mentally, morally, ethically, a poor life, it will affect your physical health. There's no question, okay? The next topic is water. The majority of people drink bad water. Water is more important than food. When you ask people, how healthy do you live? Oh, I eat good organic food. La, 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 la. Fine. They never talk about water. Water is more important than food. I don't say food is not important, but water has a higher priority. You can live easily 3, 4 days without food, but not without water. We know that the human body is like 80% water, 85% water. As a baby, it's more 90%, 95. As the older you become, the less water there is for several reasons. Again, I have a separate show where I talk about all you need to know about water. There's so many bad information, wrong information about water. It's incredible. Have you in your country reverse osmosis water?
I think so. Yeah, we have.
Yeah. I have a special show only about reverse osmosis water. I call it the devil.
Hmm.
It's highly promoted. They sell water filtering machines based on reverse osmosis. And I talk in this show only why reverse osmosis water is the devil. In my experience, everybody who drinks reverse osmosis water has to become sick over time. There's no other solution. So I have this reverse osmosis water show. Then I have a show, what you need to know about water. How do you judge what water is healthy? How do you judge that?
Hmm.
People don't know.
It's by taste. I think it's colorless, odorless, and tasteless, right? So that's how we can judge if the water is good.
Well, that would be easy. Do you know what arsenic is?
Acidic, yes.
Yeah, arsenic is tasteless.
Hmm.
But is it healthy?
No.
No.
Wow.
Okay. Which means your taste buds or your eyes or your smell can heavily deceive you.
Hmm.
Okay. So you need information. So I have this information only about water. I'm just giving you the highlights here. Water is most important, more than food. And if you don't know the criteria, what is healthy water, how can you judge the water you're drinking? Okay. Basically, I can say one thing clearly. Every water which is based on reverse osmosis water filtering system is unhealthy water. You will become sick. The next criteria is stress. I have a special show only where I explain what stress is. Now, that sounds very cocky. I'm okay with that. I may sound bold, I may sound too arrogant, but the problem is that most people don't understand what stress is. Nobody knows. Not nobody. Somebody knows. A few know. And please understand that no doctor in this world has been ever educated in university about water. They've never been educated about stress, what stress really is. Not really about food and food supplements. So stress is something you have to understand what it really is and how it works. Because if you do not um, get stress out of your life, or you cannot get in a situation where you kind of control the stress, kind of, okay, you never will become healthy. Now, I share with you here an image. Have you heard about the difference of sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system? Have you?
No, I haven't actually.
Okay. All right. So the human being works either on a parasympathetic nervous system or a sympathetic nervous system. The difference is between hell and heaven. And again, I'll teach this separately to make people understand. Every time you are in a sympathetic nervous system, which is called as well fight or fly mode, in a fight or flight mode, you are under stress and it costs you your health. This is the target, among others, for people who do meditation. In meditation, the target is to be in this parasympathetic nerve system condition, which is the healthy, balanced condition. Again, it's a topic. Again, I want only to get you here some headlines that you have heard them, and maybe we have both together the chance to discover them one by one separately and talk about each and every one of them, okay? So the next point, you have to take care about health. We covered the idea about sleep. We covered the idea about water. We covered the idea about stress. Is electromagnetic radiation. Do you know what that is?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, I don't try to put you in the corner. I just have to find.
I feel like I'm learning a lot actually, so I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I never mean it as an invalidation of you as a person. Okay.
Yeah.
Whenever you work a cell phone or Wi-Fi or GPS or Bluetooth, all these products work on a technology which is called electromagnetic radiation, or in short, EMR, or some people say electromagnetic field, okay? Now, it is very clear that every time you use a cell phone, you harm your body. No question. Not for me. Of course, you guess by now, I have a special program in which I only show people what electromagnetic radiation is and how it works. Basically, you have a natural electromagnetic field in your body. Without electricity, you cannot work. You cannot live. Your body is electricity. We are electrical beings. Our heart, our lungs, our organs, our brain would not work without electromagnetic radiation or field. Okay? Now, as you measure the speed of a car in miles or kilometers, your weight in pounds or kilos, you measure electromagnetic radiation in something which is called microwatt per square meter. That's the international standard. Your body has a natural electromagnetic field of 80 microwatt per square meter. You shouldn't have more than 100. 120 becomes dangerous. More than 120 is dangerous. 1,000 is devastating, causing cancer. When you make a phone call, you have either 1,000 to 2,000. When you drive an electric car, you have 6,000 to 8,000. More than 1,000 is highly cancerous. I'm not sure you're aware that at the moment, every third person in this world dies of cancer. Every third person. And the number's getting worse. For me, the main reason, not the only, but the main reason is this electromagnetic radiation from Wi-Fi, cell phones, GPS, and so on and so on and so on. All the Bluetooth gadgets, the wireless headphones, the earpods, they're all electromagnetic radiation who kill your body. Okay? They put your natural electromagnetic radiation with only 80 out of balance. They overrule the mechanics of your body. For millions of years, the human body has lived with a natural electromagnetic field. And now we're giving it a power, an intensity level the human body cannot digest. Hence, to my opinion, which I defend in my seminars, every third person dies of cancer. Have you ever listened to the news and they told you why every third person dies of cancer?
Yes, I think.
I mean, we have bad things like microplastic in the air, in the water. We have too many heavy metals in our food, in our supplies. Our food is lacking nutrition and microorganism. We all know that, okay? But now, as dramatic as it becomes, when I was a child, they had nobody Parkinson. Nobody had hardly dementia. These are not illnesses. We are poisoned. We are not sick. We are poisoned. And then we have body reactions. The body is based on a healthy lifestyle, fresh air, oxygen, la la la. Okay, so we talked about sleep, We talked about water. We talked about stress. We touched, when I mean touched, electromagnetic radiation, right? Now, the next subject is food addictions.
Mm.
We all know addictions is bad. Like when we talk about addictions, we typically think about alcohol, LSD, drugs, crack, right? Everybody knows this is bad, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And still people consume it, right? Okay.
Mm.
We know it's bad. It's called an addiction. My definition of addiction is your free will is not stronger than to say no.
Mm.
You cannot say no. And when you cannot say no, you are addicted. And we're all addicted for the wrong. You're never addicted to healthy salad. Have you ever met somebody, oh, I need a healthy salad this morning, otherwise I cannot survive?
No.
But they say, I need a cigarette now, otherwise I cannot function. I need a coffee now, otherwise I cannot function, right?
Yeah.
Um, so addiction. Now, we don't need to discuss the addiction of heavy drugs, LSD, cocaine. Okay, I'm not going to go there. I mean, this is basic kindergarten, what's bad, right?
Yeah.
But it's something I discovered, and I wrote a book about it. I discovered that caffeine and sugar are the widest spread drugs in the world. The widest spread drugs in the world are caffeine and sugar. And they're legal. And because they're legal, that makes them so dangerous. I mean, sugar is crazy. We need sugar. We have a natural demand of sugar. Without sugar, our body wouldn't function. But the amount of sugar we eat, we take with us, very often hidden in all kinds of food. I mean, every pasta, every pizza, they're all full of sugar, right? So sugar is highly dangerous for the health. And then there is caffeine. Have you heard about caffeine, John?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Where do you find caffeine?
Sometimes in coffee and also in carbonated drinks.
Yes.
Then definitely is.
It's not only sometimes in coffee, it's always in coffee.
Mm.
And even what they called caffeine-free coffee is not caffeine-free. It's only reduced. They tell you it's caffeine-free. Now, you guessed it by now, I have a special seminar in which I talk only about caffeine. Because caffeine you not have only in coffee, but in green tea, black tea, white tea, matcha tea, basically in most soda pops, and in all energy drinks, like hell. Energy drinks have caffeine like hell. And more in snacks, caffeine is hidden. Okay. Now I wrote the book. Whoops. Sorry, that was gone. I wrote a book about caffeine, about the danger of caffeine. Caffeine has big consequences on your body. I give you one, two small details. I mean, the show I'm doing is full of information, and caffeine is big business.
Mm.
Imagine all the businesses with soda pops, energy drinks, coffee, and so on. Huge business, okay? And they
Yeah.
don't tell you what's wrong with caffeine. And this book, I say, every coffee drinker is a drug addict. And people freak out when I say that. I say it's very easy. How do you find out you're addicted to coffee? It's an addiction. How do you find out? What do you think?
Because you can't say no to it, right? You
Well,
can't you can't function if you don't take coffee. So that's an addiction.
sure. So I said people look very easy. I don't want to blame you. I just want to explain you what happens when you drink caffeine.
Mm.
So if you want to find out whether you're addicted or not, tomorrow you stop consuming caffeine in coffee, soda pops, energy drinks, and so on. You stop from one day to another. And I guess I would guarantee that 95% of all, let's say, coffee drinkers cannot do it more than 2, 3 days.
Mm.
sometimes only one day. They must go back to the coffee. They must, because they are addicted. And if you have to go back and you cannot say, look, I just let it go for a week, a month or so. If you cannot say that, that's your own proof you're addicted. You don't need to prove it to me. Prove it to yourself. So in this book, I talk a lot about caffeine and what it does to the human body. I give you 2 examples, which a lot of people, of course, are not aware of because it's not big time promoted. A study of the university in Australia found out that people who drink coffee, intense coffee, have a reduction of the gray brain matter. Caffeine reduces your gray brain matter. And a study in Switzerland came to the same conclusion. A study in a university in Spain found out that pregnant women drinking coffee have early birth. Early birth rates, early, much too early. And the babies have underweight. Okay. All this information I give in my workshop and my seminars, that people are aware of it, how dangerous caffeine is. Good. Now, you can be addicted, and addiction is a big, I dare to say, nearly every person on this planet has an addiction to food. And in all my life, I was never sick and never in hospital. I must say in this lifetime, I never drank coffee. I never drink alcohol. I never smoked cigarettes. I never smoked drugs. I never took drugs. I'm not a saint. I had my days of fun and I'm still having them, but other fun, clear fun. But I never needed any stimulation. That had something to do with my previous life. And at the age of 3, I stepped into a previous life and I saw what happened to me and I took the consequences and certain things I just didn't do. Now, as a life and health coach, I developed a technology. 45 years, I became very, very, very sick. All of a sudden, overnight. And by accident, I found a doctor. He was specialized in food addiction, which 45 years ago, nobody knew what it was. So as an adult man, I asked the doctor, can I do an apprenticeship with you? Because he fixed me in 2 weeks. And I was overwhelmed. I said, wow, can I come and learn from you? I don't want to get paid. I just want to learn. And he agreed. And I went to him every day except Sunday and Christmas for almost 1 year. And all his patients he fixed with food addictions. Basically, everybody has a food addiction. You can be addicted to any food. We had a case, a man was addicted to milk. And he died because he drank too much milk every day. And the doctor warned him, said, you cannot survive like this. And I was addicted at this time. I became so sick. Now you find this funny, but that's the truth. I was addicted to Earl Grey black tea, caffeine, of course, with cream, milk product, yogurt, milk product, and bananas. And these ingredients nearly killed me because I was living on that every day. I was living on these things, basically, most of the time. And he discovered in 15 minutes my addiction, and he put me on a program. And in 2 weeks, I was fixed. And he saved my life. And so I went to learn from him. And then after, I incorporated that knowledge about food addiction in my work as a management consultant. Because I couldn't consult managers in the company to be more successful when they had an addiction. Why? Because the addiction took a big capacity of their daily thinking and acting. Attention, right? How can you have attention on your business when you need the next fix? And nowadays with the energy drinks, it's terrible, and coffee everywhere. So I discovered my thesis, and one thesis was you can be addicted to the 3 Ps for the letter P. You can be addicted to a product, a person or a process. Product is clear. Let's say alcohol, right? It's clear. A person, yes, there are people who are addicted to person. And these are usually chaotic relationships. Very, very bad relationships. Because you should be in love with a person and together with a person where you have respect and common goals in common, and you do things together and you live life together. But if you are addicted to that person, it becomes a sickening situation, very destroying. So you can be addicted to a product, to a person, or a procedure. Now, what is a procedure? Nowadays, we have more and more addicted to the procedure of being on the internet, being on social media. It became an addiction in our society, an absolute addiction. You can be addicted to pornography. A lot of people are addicted to pornography. A lot of men are addicted to go Saturday night in a dance bar, titty bar, and watch women undress. That's an addiction. Okay. There are more. I don't give them now. They become too brutal. What I was saying now, too overwhelming. Maybe I give you one overwhelming one. Men who rape young children. That's an addiction. They're not addicted to that particular child. It could be any child. They're addicted to the procedure of being violent, dominating over a young underage person who doesn't have the power. And to my philosophy, nobody in this world is being born as a sexual abuser or killer. They're made to be it due education to conditioning of their mind or their body, typically mostly by the parents. So this is addiction, the 3 Ps: a product, a process, or a person. Now, does that make sense what I'm saying to you? Big monologue.
It does actually. Wow, it does. And what just keeps coming to my head while you're talking is people don't realize these are addictions. It's scary because people don't know that these are literal addiction that could, even kill people. And I feel like the awareness should be there. Because the only addiction, because when you mention the word addiction, the only things that come to mind is drug abuse, alcohol. They never think of, no one would think coffee is an addiction, right?
Yeah.
Nobody would think there's something called food addiction. Nobody would think that way. And these things kill people. I mean, sugar causes diabetes. Nobody talks about diabetes. Literally in my country, before you take 10 steps, you see someone with energy drink, right? Everybody's taking energy drinks and they feel once you take it, you feel better. But it's actually doing more harm than good. And people don't know these things. They don't consider it as an addiction.
Sure,
So
sure.
I'm just overwhelmed hearing all these things. And I just wish people will hear about this and also take their health seriously. So yeah, that's what just keeps coming to my head, honestly.
How much time we got left?
We have a few minutes left. I think 10 minutes. I could walk with
Okay.
10 minutes. Yeah.
Now I give you one more thought here. You see, when you look at advertising commercials on TV and radio and newspapers, 99% of all products which you consume through your mouth, 99% of these products consuming through your mouth are all addictive. Example, fast food, alcohol, tobacco, energy drinks, soft drinks, all sugar-related products, pharmaceutical products. Even if pharmaceutical products can help you in a certain health condition, Still, they typically become, as a drug, you depend on them. And you depend on, keep taking them. And typically more, but not less. So all these products advertised going through your mouth, 99% are addictive. And these companies spending $100 million on advertising, they're not stupid. With every $100 million they spend, they get $1 billion back. Because somebody who's getting hooked up with these products is a customer for life. Or should I say, a victim for life. And these people who use energy drinks, they don't understand what it does to their body, both physical and mentally. And people tell me all the time, but I need it to get up in the morning, otherwise I cannot function. Well, what did our forefathers do the last 5 million years? They functioned and they had no coffee. Healthy energy, you don't get from energy drinks. They're full of chemicals, full of sugar and caffeine. You are in a dependency. Make the test, stop to drink them, and you see what happens to you. You're not capable. So people say, what should I do now? Well, here's a practical look on this. True energy you get from being mentally stable, have a mental stability, loving relationships, truthful, loving relationships to your spouse, to your children, to your family, to your friends, to do a work which satisfies you and motivates you, which of course pays the bills, sure, but where you feel personally satisfaction. Through true energy, you get from good sleep, as we said, you get from correct, healthy water, you get from clean food, healthy food, nutritious food, you get from daily sunshine. Everybody needs daily sunshine, not living inside a house with artificial lights. That doesn't work. Having good, healthy oxygen levels. All these ingredients give you energy, true energy, which does not need an artificial simulation. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you?
Yes, yes, it does. Definitely.
Well, that was a big monologue now. You have any, that was an introduction to what I call healthy. But healthy has many different, like, in Olympic Games, you have the decathlon fighters with 10 different disciplines they do.
Mhm.
Health is a decathlon, Olympic decathlon. You have to fight on 10 different frontiers or even more, right? Not only one subject. You got to get a balance in this. So health needs a lot of areas to look at, not only one. I don't like if somebody says, I can fix every health problems with vitamin D. I can fix every health problems with healthy water. I can fix every health problem with, well, let's take them their key subject. No, it may be a good topic, but it needs the balance between the other topics as well. So this is what I'm advocating for, to be aware of these different areas and have a basic education. Unfortunately, we're not educated in school about what I just said. What I found out about water or caffeine should be taught in basic in school, but we don't. And again, the majority of doctors have no idea about that. So this is what I'm advocating. I'm trying to create awareness among people and a kind of crash course education. If I give you a 1 hour education about caffeine, that's the fastest crash course I can give you to understand the subject caffeine. For the rest of your life, you understand caffeine. So if I take every subject and I spend between 1 and 2 hours, like I have on my website, I have many talk shows, many podcasts in which I talk about subject. Or, for example, a subject in the younger generation, I warn them in regards to tattoos. Tattoos kill your body. People with tattoos have a 20% higher chance of lymphatic cancer than people without tattoos. This is not from me. This is from the Swedish government. They found out. Piercings harm your health. I know women like to have a lot of piercings, la 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 la, very fancy, very fancy. Yeah, but what does it do in the health of your body? People don't know. So I have all these different subjects, and on my website, there's a button called webinars, and there's a button called talk shows. And there you find a lot of these topics where I speak about and explain it with illustration, with images, with background, with sources, right? So I'm not making these things up. I must say, I'm not a medical doctor. I cannot give you medical advice. I've never been to university. Life was my teacher. And good people I met who were willing to share their knowledge with me. These were my teachers. And I accumulated these information and with the target to spread it. Because information makes no sense if you don't share it. You can have the biggest wisdom in the world. If you don't share it with people, so what's the wisdom worth if people cannot practically use it? Here is my website, which makes sense, the website, Improve Your Life, because I expect that everybody is supposed to improve their life continuously. You don't improve your life one day today, and that was it. To improve your life is a continuous work. And as I live in the United States, I'm a German, but I live in the United States, I call the website improveyourlife.us. You find a lot of information, a lot of videos, a lot of talk shows, a lot of data, and there's an email you can always write to me where I talk about all these things. And my biggest subjects are water and electromagnetic radiation, cell phones, Wi-Fi, and so on, right? And I made some inventions. I developed a technology, several technologies based on quantum physics, which immediately changes people's health and situations in many different areas. Joy, now the final part belongs to you and questions.
All right. So yeah, you've shown us your website, and I hope my listeners would go through your website and see everything that there is. And I also want to thank you, right, for sharing your experience, your curiosity, and also your global perspective on health and life. And yeah, that brings me to the final part of my podcast, which is asking again, although you said it, right? Where can listeners get to know more about you and what you do?
Exactly. And maybe one day when you're in the mood to, I have a big list of topics which I sent to you. And you can always give an opportunity that I'll introduce it to your audience.
All right. Okay. So that I'm going to send like my scheduling link. I think we should do this again, right? So we can have like a deep dive into these topics. What we did was just, surface level. I want us to go deeply into these topics. And yeah, if you don't mind, actually. So thank you so much. I've learned a lot, actually. Yeah. All right. So to my listeners, thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, make sure to share to someone who you think might need this, and also subscribe so you don't miss out on your episode. Thank you, Norbert. Do have a wonderful day.
And to you, my